All right, today I am speaking with Katherine Shortt. She is the lead bioinformatics scientist for Intermountain Precision Genomics. Thank you so much for being with me today, Katherine. I wanted to start off by just asking you if you can give us a fun fact about your childhood.
Sure. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for inviting me on your show here. I think a fun fact that has some relevance in my adult life is I have a twin brother, and when we were kids, we had a system. He would break the toys, and I would take them apart and fix them. And
Oh, nice. I like it.
I always like to share that.
Yeah, I like that. So, do you think that had any relevance to what you do now in your vocation?
Yeah, actually, I think so. I like to know how things work and I like to problem solve, and it brings me a lot of joy to do that in the genomics space.
Wonderful. Do you mind maybe weaving together the picture of Catherine, just a brief version of your story, how you got to where you are right now?
Sure. So I am from St. Louis, Missouri, and I have a bachelor's in biology from Indiana University in Bloomington. I went to grad school at the University of Missouri in Kansas City, and I studied cell biology and bioinformatics at my time there,
Okay.
and worked in Shui's translational genomics lab at Children's Mercy in Kansas City for my graduate work. And from there, I hopped over to Salt Lake City in Utah, where I currently live and work for Intermountain's Precision Genomics Group.
Wonderful. What was it that piqued your interest about getting into the realm that you're in right now? Is that something you always knew you wanted to do, or where did that interest come from?
No, it's definitely not something I always knew I wanted to do. I knew I liked science and I liked problem solving. I actually studied biology as an undergrad, thinking I would maybe go into a different field altogether. And when I graduated, I ended up working in plant biotech, focusing in genetics, and I had an interest in translating that into human genetics and in a way that I could have some direct impact. So that's really what led me to that human genetics and genomics field that I then focused on in my graduate work and my subsequent career.
That's fascinating. Can you tell me a little bit about what you were currently working on at Precision?
Yeah, we have a couple of really fantastic and interesting and impactful projects that we're working on. One of them that was recently announced is the Myriad collaboration, where we're teaming up to offer a comprehensive cancer test combining Myriad's MyRisk product, which looks at germline genetic variations, and the Intermountain's TheraMap product, which looks at a large number of genes in tumor samples. So we can really, as a combined effort, offer this really comprehensive cancer testing that we're proud to be offering to the public soon this year.
That sounds like a big deal, especially in terms of what it will do, no doubt, for patient care.
Absolutely.
What is the fuel for what you do? On the hard days when you show up and maybe there are some setbacks or some challenges. What is your why, Catherine? What fuels you?
My why is definitely to bring comprehensive and actionable information to patients. And I think Intermountain as a healthcare system does a great job of championing what that can look like. And it's something that's really valuable to me to see the direct impact on the patients for the work that we're doing. So that's when I'm having a tough day, nothing's working, that's something that really kind of keeps me rolling.
I love that. So you're talking about the impact of patient care. What do you look forward to maybe in the next, if you're forecasting the future, what is intriguing or exciting to you about where genomics is going?
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I can say there are people who know a lot more than me who've spoken on this topic, and several papers I could reference to this. But I would say in the clinical space, especially in the human genomics space, I'm looking forward to better equity and diversity in the research and the outcomes areas for human genomics. I'm also looking forward to better data management. so that we can really use all of this information to connect the dots around disease and around outcomes and around patient care.
I love it. How far along are we in terms of genetic evolution? I mean, are how far are we from being at that place that you're talking about?
I think there's a lot of work to be done, but I also think that we have a lot of great people championing these areas and really putting in the work to make this happen. So I'd like to be an optimist and say I think we're going to get there. I don't know exactly when, but it's definitely an area that I think we'll see some great changes in.
Absolutely. Can you share maybe an experience with us about when maybe a project or something in your vocation just did not go as planned, and maybe some lessons learned from the setbacks that you experienced?
Sure. I think a good example for me is my path choosing a career. I think as I mentioned, I started out with a biology degree, thinking I would potentially end up in a different field. Originally, I thought I would apply to graduate school and it would be said and done. Cross your T's, dot your I's. Well, I didn't get into that field, and in retrospect, I was 21 when I was applying. I didn't necessarily have the right class background to fit that specialty. And I also wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I was pretty young and had a little bit of learning to do. So definitely I had some lessons learned from that experience. I ended up working for a year in biotech and then applying to graduate school again, this time in bioinformatics, and had just kind of that moment where it clicked, where I was excited to be in the classes and I was excited to get up every day and do the work. And what I'd like to kind of take from that as a lesson learned is your first idea isn't always your best idea. And there's not
Okay.
one way to get where you want to go. And not everyone has a linear career path. You may try a few things before you really figure out where you fit and where you're going to flourish.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that wisdom. That's really powerful. Do you mind, as we conclude here, sharing one of your favorite quotes, something that inspires you?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to share a quote from Carl Sagan. Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. And how I interpret that is there's always something on that horizon that you don't know yet, or we as a species don't know yet, that is waiting to be discovered or understood.
Oh, I love it. Sounds very much like a futurist perspective, but I love the optimism. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today and for sharing your journey. I appreciate it, Katherine.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.